There is a brand new A24 slasher film that is hitting cinemas next weekend, and I'm really excited to talk about this one because it might be one of the biggest surprises of this year. So if you're really excited, let's get to it. Welcome back, film fans. It is Brad from Let's Be Real Brad, and today on the channel, I want to talk to you guys about the brand new A24 black comedy slasher film called Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is directed by Halina Reijn, as it stars Amanda Stenberg, Maria Bakalov, Chase Sue Wonders, Rachel Sonnett, Lee Pace, and Pete Davidson. When a group of rich 20-somethings plan a hurricane party at a remote family mansion, a party game turns deadly in this fresh and funny look at a backstabbing fake friends and one party gone very, very wrong. So this is a film that I was really excited for because the whole basis of the film is based on this game called Body Body, which is a game that I used to play all the time as a kid, and I still play now with those same friends, and I have always loved this game. So when I heard that they were making a movie based off of that game in this comedy slasher film with A24 distributing the film and having such a great cast like this one, I was way more excited for it. So after checking out this film for an early screening last night, I can say that Bodies, Bodies, Bodies was a really entertaining and really fun movie. This is the type of film that I love to see at the movie theater, where everybody can just sit around, eat their popcorn, and have their drinks and have a really great time watching this film, as everybody in my audience was laughing and enjoying it and just being very invested in the movie. No one was on their phones, no one was being inappropriate. This is because the movie was so good. So let's just get right into my positives first, and I gotta start with the performances here, as everybody in this movie is really, really good. The biggest standouts to me were Pete Davidson, Rachel Sonnett, Maria Bakalov, and Amanda Stenberg. I don't really want to dive into the performances all that much because it could potentially lead into spoilers or suggestive spoilers, so I'm just going to say that they were all really great and they played their characters extremely well, and they were also very, very funny, especially Pete Davidson. I think he had some of the best jokes in the whole film. Speaking of the humor, the screenplay for this film was really good here, as I found all the jokes to be insanely hilarious, and it is definitely one of the funniest films I have seen this year because I was consistently giving belly laughs the whole entire time. This is because the tone of this film matches with this satirical black comedy vibe, but also being a really violent and over-the-top intense type of slasher film, and it all blends together extremely well, like it did for the movie X that came out earlier this year. I also really enjoyed the characters, as I found that the screenplay was able to make these characters very enjoyable and you know who they are without just throwing so much exposition in your face and trying to explain all the characters all at once. We do have to sit around and wait for these characters to get explored. I also found the pacing of this film to be very consistent, as I was never bored for a single second, especially when this movie is an hour and a half, and with the movie being such a simple film, the movie never feels like it's ever getting boring or it's just taking too long to develop, as I was having a great time while watching it. I also really enjoyed the violence here, as I thought it was very satisfying from a creative horror perspective, as all the kills were very shocking but also very creative in the way that they were able to do it, especially with some of the kills in this movie that were extremely bloody and had great practical effects, especially for a smaller indie type of film. It was very, very well done, and I didn't notice any cheapness throughout this entire film. I also found the cinematography, direction, and the music to be very strong in this film, especially with the cinematography, with having such great lighting and so many great colors throughout the film, as it doesn't rely on artificial lighting that we see in so many mainstream films. When this movie is dark, it's really dark, and I really like the way that the shadows are used, especially with some of the more intense, creepy moments of characters maybe walking by or some things you might not be able to see. It really created this great atmosphere, and you really feel like you're in the dark with them, especially being in a dark movie theater. I also found the music to be really enthralling, especially in the more intense moments moments, as it was done by Disasterpeace, who was able to create It Follows score, which I think is one of the best horror scores of all time. I found the movie to be very unpredictable, as I had no idea who the killer was and why the killer was doing what they were doing, but it made it so much more emotionally investing, and I was definitely super into this film. I really can't see how you couldn't. Unfortunately, this film does have a few criticisms here, and the first one has gotta be with the screenplay, as there are a few storylines that are introduced in the beginning of the film that do feel like filler, as some of these storylines don't even make it past halfway through the film, as you just completely forget about them, or if they do make it all the way to the end, you feel like it's just so irrelevant and it doesn't really matter. Like, I understand we're supposed to know about these characters and know about the situations, but some of it is just so confusing and just thrown in there, like, oh, do you remember what happened last night? But they don't actually get into it, and maybe that was very purposeful, but I didn't feel like it was really all that necessary. And the final criticism I have with this film is the fact that this film isn't trying to reinvent the slasher genre or the comedy genre, as it does exactly what it needs to do. It has really good performances, but not all-time performances. This is a very straightforward, really fun, entertaining slasher film that does everything that it needs to do. And I think for those reasons, it can't be a 10 out of 10 type of horror film. Overall, guys, Bodies was a very entertaining and satisfying slasher film that does everything it needs to do to win the audience over without feeling like it's trying to be a crowd-pleasing film. The performances are very strong, the comedy is extremely funny, and this is a very well-made film. I'm giving Bodies a 7 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for checking out this review, as I want to know below in the comment section, what did you guys think of this film, and where would you rank it with the other A24 horror films? Before you guys check out this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you want to, and ring that notification bell so I can see you all in the following video.